Yesterday night, I outsourced an Excel analysis and have just received a file back. Let's take a look. What's that? Guys, you are such idiots. No. As a former McKinsey consultant, I have seen scenes like this occur far too often. Both as a management consultant as well as in any business management role, you frequently need to outsource tasks such as Excel analyses, creation of PowerPoint slides and so on. But if you fail to do that right, you will receive a poor result and may be at risk of losing your temper, even screaming at those who are there to help you. In this video, I will share my 6-step routine on how to outsource a simple task, such as an Excel analysis, and take you through an actual work example of mine so that you can copy my strategy to get things done. Just to be clear, by simple tasks, I'm referring to tasks that do not anymore need any further smart thinking, but just require execution, and therefore somebody's time. I'm Jack, and a former McKinsey consultant and project manager. Now I serve as a freelance consultant, and the example I'm going to show to you is from one of my recent consulting engagements. Without further ado, let's get started. Step number 1, identify a task that can and should be outsourced. That is tougher than it may sound. As a management consultant or business manager, we sometimes suffer from perfectionism and vanity that make us believe only I can do it. Of course, that is plain wrong. To judge if you can outsource a task, run through the following 2 criteria. First, size of task. Is the task large enough so that outsourcing it will actually save you time compared to just executing it yourself? You still need to set up the task, hire somebody, prepare instructions and check the result. Second, simplicity of a task. Ideally, the task is repetitive or simple. The simpler it is, the lower the risk for you to receive a poor result back, and you should be able to describe it in writing. Step number 2, search and select your helping hand. If you work at a top consulting firm such as McKinsey, BCG or Bain, this is easy because you should have support services for certain tasks at your hand whom you will need to rely on frequently just to survive, time-wise. If you work for a different type of company or serve as a freelance consultant, you may first need to find an assistant. How to do that, for instance on platforms such as Upwork, I leave for another video. The good thing is, once you have found a person whose work you are satisfied with, you can rehire her or him in the future for similar tasks. In the case I'm going to present you here, I rehired a service provider with whom I had worked before. Step number 3, summarize deliverable and deadline in the email subject line. If you contact your coworker by email, make sure to communicate the type of your request and the time by which you need it back in your email subject line. If you contact somebody for the first time, your subject line may look like this: request for Excel analysis extension by 3rd August. If it is somebody you work together with on a regular basis already, you may sharpen it to Excel analysis extension deadline 3rd August 10 AM CET. And at McKinsey, I would summarize tasks and requirements in an even shorter manner. Excel analysis extension, deadline 3rd August, 10 AM CET. Step number 4, describe your task in writing. And precisely. And I'm afraid I think, without any arrogance, even some of my consulting colleagues occasionally do it wrong here. If you only briefly sketch out your request and expect the other person to connect the dots, your task may be doomed to fail. Let me show you my actual example task to help you get things right the first time. Based on the submissions of 9 countries participating in a pilot survey that I had set up as part of a project, I had derived a set of initial summary statistics for the client. For the first wave, I had done this myself. Now for the second wave, I wanted assistance in extending this file by 20 further countries and in updating the summary statistics. So far so good. If I had done it wrong, I could just have said this in my support inquiry email. Please find attached my old survey. Now please add the 20 new countries and update the statistics. This is clear, right? This would be so-called top-down communication, which I think is a trap that especially consultants may occasionally fall into, given that top-down communication usually presents a preferred communication style in both top management consulting and top management levels of client companies. However, this is a moment where you need to switch to bottom-up communication. Please recall that your assistants usually work remotely, are often situated in developing regions and may not have had an opportunity to obtain higher education. While in most cases they try to do the best to help you, they cannot read your mind. In order to maximize the odds of getting back what you want, at this point it is worth your time to once specify your request in detail. Being able to communicate top-down, but also remaining flexible enough to switch back to our natural bottom-up communication style is a key consulting skill that you need to master. The earlier the better. I teach you how to do that in this must-watch video here. And if you find this video useful and engaging so far, please smash the like button and subscribe for further top-quality business and consulting career advice. So this is how I designed my instructions. I seriously asked my assistant to first open my attached file, which generally should go without saying, but just to play it safe. I would then explain that there currently were 9 countries in the Excel file and that I asked to adjoin the datasets from 20 further countries to it in a certain format and in alphabetical order. I then asked to check the formulas in my existing summary statistics and update them for the new extended dataset. Finally, I did not want to make this task too complex, so I left it there but already communicated that I will probably ask them for request part 2. Step number 5. Ask for an intermediate update. Do not walk away for 3 days after you have submitted your request and expect to then receive a flawless file. Instead, ask your assistant to send you an intermediate update after a brief trial period. I just saw your intermediate update. Are you serious? This is a joke! And have you actually already subscribed to the Ewan Consulting YouTube channel for further top business and consulting career advice? No! 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 And please like this video and share. Well, in my case, I asked for a sample file after 3 of the 20 countries had been added, and then I could give some intermediate feedback as well to nudge the execution of a task to where I wanted it to be. After I received the completed file, I asked for 2 follow-up tasks. Namely to update the summary statistics and create PowerPoint slides for each of the countries in accordance with the template I had prepared. I have applied the same outsourcing approach to this follow-up task, so I do not want to go through it in detail, but if you are curious to see a second example showcasing by how much I break down my instructions into detail, feel free to pause the video here for reading. Step number 6. Always be friendly and pay timely. You will note that throughout my communication I am friendly and engaging. For instance, I start by mentioning that I'm a returning customer, give an encouraging intermediate feedback and am appreciative. I'm even nice enough to state that my request is not super urgent if that's the case, as people hate it to work under constant pressure. And I always invite my partners to ask me questions for clarification. Sometimes I get even somewhat more personal in my communication, and I can tell you that assistants love working with and for me since I genuinely care for them too. And this is a win-win because it ensures that they go out of their way to satisfy my requests and I do not have to search and burn a new assistant every time. This is also why I like to pay swiftly. Reliability goes both ways. Of course, sometimes you will be assigned a coworker who maybe is a little lazy, but I must tell you that I have rarely experienced such issues with coworkers. Treat others with respect and you typically get returned the same favor. My heart regularly sunk in situations where I heard colleagues scream at their supporters where they were under such pressure that they felt the need to pass it on. So if you follow these 6 steps when outsourcing tasks, you should be fine. And once you have received and approved the intermediate update, you can have a peaceful sleep and be safe to receive a perfect file by the next morning. Great! If you are here to understand how to get Excel analyses done, chances are high that you also regularly need to deal with PowerPoint presentations, either as a creator or on the receiving end. In this video, I share with you the 6 secrets why top management consultants truly use PowerPoint presentations and how you can use them to your favor too. Just saying. Talk soon, Jack.